Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro tests positive for coronavirus. Brazil President Jair Bolsonaro, who has consistently downplayed the threat posed by the coronavirus pandemic while his country has soared to the world's second most cases and deaths, tested positive for COVID-19. "I'm perfectly well," Bolsonaro told journalists in a live interview on Tuesday, after announcing the result of his test. He's taking hydroxychloroquine, an anti-malaria medicine that he has touted as being effective against the virus, though its use hasn't been authorized by most health experts globally and could carry dangerous side effects. "Everyone knew that sooner or later it would impact a good part of the population," he said. "Life continues. But if the economy doesn't work, it will bring new forms of death and suicide." The 65-year-old president, who during his campaign to reopen the economy called the virus just a little flu, has repeatedly disobeyed medical recommendations to avoid contamination, mingling in crowds without a face mask and giving people handshakes. In March, as COVID-19 claimed its first victims in Brazil, the far-right populist used an address to the nation to brag that, if infected, he would quickly shake off the illness thanks to his athlete's background. Since then, Bolsonaro has continued to attend social events and political rallies, often wearing masks incorrectly, or not wearing them at all. After announcing his positive result on Tuesday, Bolsonaro stepped back from the reporters he was addressing, removed his mask and, grinning, said, "Just look at my face, I'm well, fine, thank God. Thanks to all those who have been praying for me, and to those who criticize me, no problem, carry on criticizing as much as you like." Bolsonaro's diagnosis comes just 3 days after he had lunch at the home of the U.S. ambassador to Brazil, Todd Chapman, in the capital, Brasilia. Also present at that Independence Day celebration were several top cabinet members, including the Foreign Minister, Ernesto Araújo, Defense Minister, Fernando Azevedo, and the President's son, Eduardo, a politician who is Steve Bannon's representative in South America. The men were photographed without face masks. Reports of Bolsonaro's possible infection first emerged on Monday evening, with local news outlets reporting that he had been tested after developing coronavirus symptoms, including a 38°C temperature and a persistent cough. An MRI of Bolsonaro's lungs was also taken, with the president telling supporters it had shown them to be clear. The newspaper O Globo said it understood Brazil's president had started complaining of tiredness on Saturday night, after his lunch with the U.S. ambassador, and continued feeling unwell on Sunday. Over the weekend, the Brazilian leader celebrated America's Independence Day with the nation's ambassador to Brazil. He shared pictures on social media showing him with his arm around the ambassador alongside several ministers and aides. None wore masks, despite being in close quarters. The U.S. Embassy said on Twitter on Monday that Ambassador Todd Chapman is not showing any COVID-19 symptoms but would be tested.